We are going on live very soon. Yes, and we are on live right now. Ladies and gentlemen, and if you are with us, you happen to be with us. I am here, Vicky Esther Chang, on the Platinum platform, and with my friend here, Wei Jie, and Wei Jie is a student, is an undergraduate student studying down under in Australia. He's actually Singaporean, but he's there studying his undergraduate studies, and he will tell you more about himself. And you are with me. It is 9:50 p.m. right here on the 29th of December, and we are just 3 days away from 2023. And what a way to close the year with the launch of the book Gold Nuggets for Entrepreneurs, Lessons That Change Your Life. I'm Vicky Esther Chang here, and I am the executive editor of the book Gold Nuggets for Entrepreneurs. It is a compilation of very inspiring stories from the world's top leaders in America, India, in Singapore also. We have a plethora of stories from all walks of talents and the top leaders and business mentors. And here with me is Wei Jie. Wei Jie, say hi to everyone and tell us who you are and where you are right now.
Hello everyone, I'm Wei Jie. I'm from Singapore, currently in Perth, Western Australia. First year undergraduate student in commerce, and my vision for when I graduate is that I aim to be an adaptable person in the fields of interest, which is finance and information technology, because I feel that the world is always adapting, and these two sectors seem to held up very well, especially during the COVID pandemic. It has really stood the test of time, and I think that no matter when I graduate from my double degree major, I feel that this thing can help me go far, without any issues.
Wei Jie, I'm very intrigued about students at your age because you represent the millennials and you represent the hope for the world. I just want to know what are the subjects you are actually being taught right now, and what's your favorite subject in your undergraduate studies?
Currently, my favorite subject is marketing across borders, and the next, because I've been intrigued by the e-commerce world as well, because that is like a very big thing. It's like logistics, supply, but there's a lot of work other than just people buying and selling. So I believe all the hard work in marketing does play a part as well. Then my next favorite unit is human resource management, because I think that without the core foundation of any business, which is human resource, you will not expect businesses to succeed without the right people and the right roles.
Yeah, I'm very interested in your mindset. Yes, and you know that the world has changed, but I'm interested in international marketing that you talk about. Could you tell me a bit what are like one or two of the key concepts that you do remember in this module that you studied?
I still remember is to focus on a market, find out the specific needs and what are the limitations and benefits of global selling, because in some countries you have to meet regulations, and for example, if you were to make European cars come into Asia, they need to meet specifications like hot weather, and so I think that's one of the concepts I learned. It's like you need to understand what the target market needs, and then you cater accordingly. So that's how business expand.
Yeah, and I want to ask you a very interesting question. Since you have just completed your module and it is Christmas, you're going to start a new fresh semester very soon. In Singapore, what do you think are the constraints for international markets for us, for a small SME to grow?
So far, I'm not too sure, but I just give my own opinion, because I think there are quite a lot of inventions that were originated from Singapore, but nobody thought of it. Like the sound card by Creative and the USB flash drive, they weren't actually invented in Singapore. So how that became a widespread thing across the world, I think is because of people doing publications and bring them across the borders. So I think that's the same idea now. So with the context of Singapore, it's small medium enterprises may because they're considered small, they may not share the same characteristics as bigger companies like Dell and Apple. So I think that could prove to be a bit of a challenge, but I think with the help internet, it shouldn't be too much of an issue right now.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought up Singapore is the inventor of the sound card, and also the flash drive, which is actually the thumb drive. And you know
correct.
that the inventor himself had to sue so many companies because they were using the thumb drive. You will read that he were bringing them to court to sue them. So you're right to say that Singapore has made its name, and currently I think one of the top brands in Singapore is Razer, isn't it?
Yeah, Razer and
Gaming
Creative.
laptop. Yeah, want to tell us about your understanding of Razer, and maybe tell the audience what Razer does.
Okay, I think I'm not a good person to answer this question, but I think I just go by what I think, because he's like your average person. I don't say he's like excellent person in school, but he did work.
You're talking about the founder of Razer, right?
Yeah, okay. I don't think he's like a very top scorer in school. He's like every one of us. But I believe that it doesn't matter whether you're at the bottom or at the top. It's more of like you are determined, you are hardworking, then that brings you a long way, and that really explains where he is now.
Yeah, and Razer is actually one of the top brands for gaming laptops. You know that, right?
Yeah, their hardware as well.
One of the biggest market share for gamers. Do you own one of the Razer laptops?
I'm not a Razer user because I don't game that much, but I used to have a Razer mouse before it died on me, and then now I'm like full wireless, so that's why I didn't go back to Razer for a long time now.
Yeah, okay. So ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are tuning in right now, or that the algorithm of Facebook has pushed this channel to you, we're talking about the book Gold and Nuggets for Entrepreneurs, and Wei Jie here is a first-year undergrad studying in the university down under in Perth. He is actually a Singaporean undergraduate student, and we're going to talk about the book Gold Nuggets for Entrepreneurs, Lessons That Change Your Life. I'd like to hear from him. His first-hand feedback to me as an executive editor who has put together the world's top leaders and business mentors together who write this book targeting business students, young adults, and of course adults who are looking at going into entrepreneurship and also all launching their careers in entrepreneurship. But again, the word entrepreneur here doesn't mean an entrepreneur is going to start an enterprise. You could be entrepreneurial in nature, and you could be an intrapreneur. An intrapreneur just means someone who's in a department championing a cause, championing a mission for a department to bring it out to market, to bring a vision to fruition. So this is what we mean by an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur. So with it, the first question I'd like to pose to you, this book, Gold Nuggets for Entrepreneurs, Lessons That Change Our Life, you have actually read it twice. Tell us, how does the overall appeal of this book to you in terms of the approach?
Okay, basically, firstly, I would say that the book is very well explained, yet easy to read. So it's like very simple language. It's like terms that people already understand. It's not overly long for points that needs to be explained, but one shot, I think people will understand what they are trying. One shot, people will understand what the story is talking about. So
okay, this book is actually in two parts, right?
Yes, correct.
There are actually two parts. The first part, I should say that there are two parts. And this book is actually in two editions. The edition that you bought is actually the Asia Pacific edition, and there is another international edition. For the Asia Pacific edition, you've got the Gold Nuggets of Skills, and then followed by lessons that change your life. Tell me, what's your comment when you browse through very quickly? What's your comment when you look at the chapter, you look at the content page? What's your first reaction when you look at a book like this?
For me, I feel like these are real life examples. These stories are applicable to not just people who are already working. Is probably applicable to people who knows how to read, because these really teach them lessons in life that are really meaningful and relevant. It helps keep people going, and then it gives people the right mentality as well.
Yeah, and of course, I like to find out from you. There's these two parts. Particularly like to focus on lessons that change your life. We've got quite a few stories there, real life stories written by entrepreneurs and leaders. Could you tell me which is the first story in your mind that stood out to you after reading the book?
For me, the first story that stood out to me was the longevity of entrepreneurship. Okay.
Tell me, why did you like that, and why did it stood out? Yeah.
For me, it stood out to me because I feel that a lot of people, they get very excited when they feel like they hit the jackpot, when they make it in life. They started a business. They just graduated and started a job. This happiness is like, can be forever, it can be once, but it is a journey that they'll stay with you as long as possible, provided people have the right qualities to sustain them. Because there are many cases that people go bankrupt overnight, people lose their job, and then also they think it's the end of the world. But ultimately, it also has to start with their own personality and having the right skill sets that keep them going a long way. And also that will help with their career progression.
Yeah. Is there any one factor in that chapter, the art of longevity, that stood out? Is there one particular factor that you think is something that is applicable to me and going to bring it back? Is there one point?
So far, I find that people needs the adaptability and the willingness to learn is another factor why you keep people going for a long time in their career.
Okay, so you talked about adaptability and willingness to learn. I'm glad that after reading the book, these are the two factors that stood out. And I'm sure there are other stories, right? Besides the art of longevity in business. Is there another story that stood out for you?
So far, this and the black economy, black businesses, because
it's not just surprising. Tell us about that chapter.
Okay, mainly why I mentioned these two chapters, because it's not just about your mentality to keep pushing on. Then that also links to the black economy, black business, because it feels like, you are, nothing is stopping you from doing certain things. You can feel different from others. You can feel like you are a minority. That doesn't matter. It happens everywhere. No one is the same, but that doesn't mean it will stop you from pushing to your hardest and stepping up and doing as good as what other people are doing.
Wow, that's very encouraging. The author for Black Economy and Black Businesses is Francia Gardner. She's one of the important writers in this book, and the writer for The Art of Longevity for Entrepreneurship is Richard Christopher Lowe. Richard Christopher Lowe is from the UK. He's currently residing in Singapore and is the CEO of a turnkey property development in Singapore. And Gardner is actually located in Texas. So this book again has an international panel of writers. So we have put together to the readers a whole list of good writers from all over the world who've come together with a mission to share with students and young adults like yourselves to read a book like this and to be able to take away some of these concepts that usually in textbooks they will not talk about. Right, textbooks, they never talk about inspirational stories. They just give you the text and they just give you, some of these concepts. What do you think? My next question is, what do you think? For the other section, gold nuggets of skills. What do you think appealed to you in that section? the gold nuggets of skills.
So from what appealed to me is that these skills are you may think this may not really okay, these skills may feel like you won't give a second thought, but once you read through it, you can feel like it's actually very meaningful. Some people think they have the basic soft skills, but these skills I think can help you go a lot further than you think.
Yeah. Okay, just for me to explain to the audience and listeners who are just tuning in, because this book has got two sections. One part of it is called Gold Nuggets of Skills for Entrepreneurs. And Gold Nuggets of Skills for Entrepreneurs, myself, I've written the first chapter. It talks about the red ocean strategy, the blue ocean strategy, pricing strategy, marketing strategy, competitive strategies and competitive analysis, etc. Now, these are some of the working tips for entrepreneurs and people who are already in business. These are very important points for them. And it is made in such a way that you can actually read 20 pages very quickly, because you don't expect someone who is actually fighting fire in a real business, like in a pandemic, right? They're either going to close the business or not. They're going to survive or not. They are not going to go into the library to read a 200-page a textbook on how to save the business. So we have made this book such that these tips are made like bite size, so that anyone could pick up the book and read the chapters, and then they have takeaways right away that is applicable to their small enterprises, to the medium-sized enterprises, and even to business students. So they are real working tips and very, very applicable and practical tips. So there's just two sections to the book: the Gold Nuggets of Skills, practical business skill sets, and it includes financial analysis written by Professor Siu Ming Koh of Singapore. She talks about why enterprises need to use some of these financial skill sets to expand their business or to save their business. Some of these numbers are very important to look at. It may be a bit hard to crunch right now. You have to read the book that Lucia has done. It may be applicable to these people who are already in businesses, who are starting a business, or who are actually studying business already. So they do understand these concepts. But bear in mind, the book is made in such a way that it is easy to read. You can pick it up, and then you can have a coffee over it, and you can read it, and some of these concepts should stay with you. And there's a second part to the book which Weijie has talked about. He has talked about two stories that actually stayed with him. One is The Art of Longevity of Entrepreneurship, and the other one, Black Economy and Black Businesses by Francesca Gardner. So a lot of inspirational stories. There's also another chapter called 10 Top Tips of Leadership for CEOs and Entrepreneurs. Weijie, do you remember reading that chapter about leadership skills?
I don't really recall about that chapter, but I feel that when you can't think of leadership skills, they are probably the most important, and this really apply to anyone.
Yeah, sure. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, this is another example of some of these concepts I've put together. It is very essential for entrepreneurs, and even for anyone that's going out into the workforce, or it could be a mother who is going out to the workforce after taking a holiday break from their career. For some time, they're stepping back into the economy. We talked about Black economy, Black businesses, which is not only applicable to Black businesses, but struggling small businesses. We talked about the art of longevity, the arts of sales, and leadership, and also inspiring stories from Annette Wittenberger. We talked about biting the bullet, decisions, sacrifices. As an entrepreneur, you do need to make sacrifices, because you do have to put a lot of your time and effort in growing a business. We also had stories from Karen Denise Alston, which talks about you being the change agent and taking the leadership making that change starting from yourself. So a lot of inspirational stories from our writers and myself and Professor Cole talking about some of these working tips for entrepreneurs. Now, the next question to you is, as a business student, how would you rate the book in terms of readability from 1 to 5, 5 being the easiest to read? Talking about yourself, just referring to yourself from 1 to 5, where does it rate in terms of readability?
Personally, this book, it rates at a 4 or 5 because, firstly, I think there's no perfection because, in my own opinion, some of the things took a while to understand, but I think that's fine. But other than that, most of the ideas are well presented. They are not overly wordy, but upon first glance, you understand what the story is talking about.
Yeah. And before we wrap up, I just want to ask you, for your generation, you are the millennial generation, and the millennial generation is also called the Instagram generation.
Yeah, Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah, or the TikTok generation, right? Facebook and YouTube is already the older generation like myself. So, we are actually competing the eyeballs. Myself, included, right? I will be bombarded with all the social media news that is coming from Facebook, YouTube, Google Ads, TikTok, even Twitter. Elon Musk is so much on Twitter himself.
I saw that.
So much distraction. So for the Instagram generation like you, someone like myself is trying to push through a concept to a student like you to your eyeball. What does it take, Wei, for it to be, for me to be able to successfully push through to you? What does it take for a story to go through to you?
I think it has to do with like social media posts because I think I still follow Mothership right now. They have just like published like short videos on TikTok, Instagram. So I've seen like book advertisements on social media as well. Some people even went to such extent of talking about books they are reading on TikTok as well. So I think that's the current trend now. TikTok is like everything that people are doing just goes on there. So that's why it becomes such a viral thing because of the number of the uptake.
I think you raised a very important point. That means you are using the channels, and to use the channels to reach out to people to tell them that, hey, there is this content that you should read out. You should reach out to. It is a book. It is a newspaper article, etc. That means using all these social media channel, and like what you say, TikTok is one of them. I think that's a very valid point. Vijay, is there something that you would like to ask me before we wrap up this very important interview with you? Is there anything you'd like to ask me regarding the book?
So far, I don't have anything to ask, and other than that, I think this has been a very fruitful session. Yeah, talking about different perspectives and how things are bring meaning to life.
I would like to thank you for your support of the book, and I hope to enter into your classroom or enter into your lecture hall, talk about your book, to talk about this book that you've read, Gold Nuggets for Entrepreneurs, Lessons That Change Your Life. I hope to be able to reach out to more undergraduates in the universities that you are studying. So, and I also understand that you are actually staying with a group of international students. What are these countries?
One is almost two of them are going to be graduating soon. They are master students. So one is from Hong Kong, one is from Malaysia. Then there are two working class people here from Malaysia, and the youngest one here is from China. She just finished year 12, so I think she's waiting to go into university next year, which is most likely in late February.
So you're talking about from Hong Kong, from China, Singapore, Malaysia, a group of people where you are residing. So thank you so much, Vijay. I hope to talk to you again, or more students who have read the book for their feedback. And because I am going to come up with volume 2 very soon in 2023, please look out for it. What kinds of stories will inspire students like you?
So far, I believe that these stories that inspire students most likely will be related to their field of study. Some would include like real life examples. Then also there'll be some elements of like self-development and self-improvement, because that's what is very important. You need to have the self-development before you step out into the world.
Self-development stories.
Yeah.
Thank
It's to like to have people in the right structure before they mix with others.
Yeah, and it does make a difference for lessons that change your life, because these are the lessons that you read. They actually are written by people who have gone through that real life experience. You're not reading a textbook whereby you're writing from a third person's point of view. You know what I'm trying to say? So I think that makes a huge difference. So thank you so much, Wei Jie. You talking to us and sharing with us tonight at 10:15 p.m. There in Perth, and also 10:15 p.m. right here in Singapore, and also broadcasting to the whole of the world, particularly USA, where our co-authors are, or co-international authors are. So again, ladies and gentlemen, the book Gold Nuggets for Entrepreneurs, Lessons That Change Your Life, it's already in Amazon, in Amazon.com, Amazon.sg, and in all these international markets that Amazon is. You can actually purchase from Amazon.com. It is not available in your country. And this book exists in two editions. One is the international edition, and the other one is Asia Pacific edition. A little bit different in terms of the order of the chapters, but in terms of content, it's the same. We want to thank again all the authors and all the international authors that have joined me in this very successful launch for Gold Nuggets for Entrepreneurs. Thank you again, Wei Jie, all the way from down under in Australia. So it is summertime there, right, Wei Jie?
Yeah, feeling like Singapore now, right?
Yeah.
But minus the humidity.
So what's the temperature right now?
Now it's 25 outside.
25. That means it is exactly like Singapore. It is the summer there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here is
because,
desert conditions, so at night it can get cold.
yeah, because some of our authors are residing in the US and they're having blizzards there.
Yeah, I
Very
saw that.
under, like, I heard it was like 6 feet of snow by Reverend Stephen Mannion. He was telling me that day, it was like raining. It was just like raining snow. Right. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Wei Jie. Thank you once again. I hope to talk to you again in your school at Zoom, in your classroom and your lectures. Bye.
Right, thank you.
And all the
Bye-bye.
best, and have a good belated Christmas, Merry Christmas, and a good New Year.
Right, thank you. Bye-bye.